Da-da-da-da. Okay, we're here. Welcome back, guys, to another live stream. And today, as you can see, I'm going to tell you how to learn Danish faster. Because you're all learning, but I'm sure that sometimes you're frustrated. You're like, why is it taking so long? Or I want to learn faster, speed this up. Like, okay, cool. Of course, you can always just study more, but there are sort of some smarter ways to do it. So, here we have the overview, and the different tips, ways, methods, approaches that you can use to learn Danish faster. But this is not a list like you have to do all of them. You can choose the one that suits you or the ones, right? Because it depends on how much time you have, your level, your personality type, like how serious you are. So there's a lot of different factors you have to decide on your own. But yeah, let's look at the first one. The first one is, well, it's kind of obvious. Watch Danish videos every day, because this is a Danish channel. And also because you want to be exposed to Danish. Like, you want to hear and read something in Danish every day. So it's not like, okay, once or twice a week I sit down and I watch some videos. It's like, no, ideally you want to do it daily, because then Danish never really leaves your mind. Like, it's always there. Like, it's always somewhere in your memory. You got the phrases and the sounds. They're sort of floating there. You might dream about it, right? So that's really, really good stuff. Now you can watch different kind of videos. The first one is educational videos. So this is like my videos, for example. Like, there are also a few other channels, but I realized that the selection is very small. So, but whatever you can find, something that's educational, you can get the basic vocabulary, some grammar, some pronunciation tips, like, all these things. They're like made for learning. So that is obviously good, but it doesn't have to be that always. Could also be something made for Danish people. Right? Could be some movies or TV show or vlogs. So it could be different things. The good thing about something being educational is that it's easier for you to use and to learn from, because it's sort of tailored to your needs. But the good thing about something that's not made for education, not made for learning, is that it's more natural. Like, even in my videos, when I'm like, oh, this is like a natural speed, it never becomes truly natural, because it's made for education, right? So sometimes, especially when you get to a higher level, you want to like watch a movie, a Danish movie, or a TV show, or a vlog. Like, maybe there's a vlogger, a video blogger, you could also call it that, in Danish, and you think that he or she is making some cool stuff. So you watch that. You don't get all of it. You don't understand every single word, but you get like most of it. So that is something beautiful, and you can really learn a lot that way. Right? So make use of all of it, not just one. Movies are great because they have a story, so you're actually invested in it. I know that sometimes these educational videos, we try to make them interesting, but due to the format being relatively short, we cannot make them like as engaging as an actual movie. So watch some movies. It can be comedy or horror or action, whatever you're into. Right? Watch Danish videos every day. The second one is take notes. While you're watching videos, it's always a good idea to be taking notes. Because sure, you can just chill, you can like put it on and not work so much, so to speak, but you might forget it, right? It's like, oh, that's a cool word, that's a good explanation, but then if you don't write it down, you're just like in one ear and out the other, right? So I would say that when you're watching something or seeing something, you want to like write down the new words. See something that's new and then you write it down, right? Maybe it's a word, or maybe it's a sentence structure, like the grammar, the way the a verb is placed, or there's a certain conjunction or preposition, so it's new to you, so you write it down. And then of course, if you're really good, then you ask a teacher. If you don't have a teacher, then ask a friend or boyfriend or girlfriend, husband, or whatever you have. Right? Ask a native speaker, because that can help to give some context. So new words and new sentence structures. Other times what you want to do is like write down words that are similar, right? Because we all know it was like tror, synes, ved, kender, laver, gør, all these kind of words, right? Words that are similar. Sometimes you don't get it. You don't get it just by having it explained to you. You need to see a lot of examples. So if you write down examples from educational videos or Danish movies or TV shows, you have them like right next to each other. So you can see from the context how tror is different from synes and why ved is not the same as kender. Right? These are just some examples. So you can see it in context, and that is the beauty. Because when you have something isolated, it makes it hard to understand the deeper meaning. Right? But in a context, it's easier. It is easier, definitely. It also feels more organic, because that's how it is in real life. Like people speak like that. So you definitely want to do that. And also, when you are watching videos, you want to pay attention to the spelling. Like, is this a silent G or silent D? Or what is the actual spelling of this word? Oh, I didn't know that, but thanks, let me write it down. So you want to pay attention to that. Like maybe you're watching something on, I don't know, Netflix or whatever, and it's not actually Danish, but it has Danish subtitles. So, you can write down the translation, or just, oh, there's that word I was looking for, and then you write it down, and you get the spelling right. Right? A lot of language learning is actually just copying and imitating. Some teachers will say that you have to get very deep into the grammar and become an expert in all the rules and stuff. I don't believe in that so much. Grammar is good. Like grammar helps you make sense of stuff. But really the essence here is you copy. You copy what you see. Right? So yeah. You want to pay attention to the spelling. You see new words, new sentence structures, you see similar words, and then you remember to pay attention to the spelling as well. The third one is translate texts into Danish. Now this one is mostly for beginners, maybe intermediate learners. At a higher level, you don't want to be doing this too much. You want to be making your own sentences. But it's still good. Like there's a lot of practice here. There's a lot you can learn. So like, let's say you have something, you wrote a story in your own language and you want to translate it into Danish. Or you have something in Danish you want to translate into your language or English, whatever it is. It helps because it just sort of cements it in your brain, in your mind. Like, oh yeah, what is that word? Like, how does it correspond to something in the language that I already know? So of course it's good to translate stuff. Now I do have to say, beware of literal translations, because being a teacher, both in these YouTube videos and also private lessons, I see a lot of mistakes coming from literal translations. Like you have something in English, like an idiom for example, some idiomatic expression or slang term or proverb, and then you translate directly into Danish and it's really weird. Right? So you want to be aware of that. You wanna say to yourself, if it's idiomatic or if it's like a metaphor in my language or in English, then it probably won't work in Danish. Right? The more colorful or idiomatic something is, the bigger the chance or the higher the chance that it'll be wrong when translated directly. I hope that makes sense to you. So yeah, be aware of that. But with that in mind, do go to town and have some fun. Maybe you have a Danish fairy tale and you want to translate it into English or your own language. Or maybe you see something on a cereal box, right? You're like, huh, what does that mean? And then you just do that. It doesn't have to be a long text. It doesn't have to be like 2 pages and 500 words or 2,000 words or whatever. Maybe it's just 100 words, right? So anything counts. It all matters. It all helps. So in the end, it adds up. So you want to translate something into Danish and then from Danish to the other language. Especially for beginners, this is very useful because you need to memorize, and you'll also learn a lot of grammar. Something like verbs, like, oh, how do I conjugate that verb? And you just start to see the patterns more and more, because as we say, practice makes perfect, eh? Or in Danish, øvelse gør mester. That's sort of the key here. So go ahead and translate. But when you get to a higher level, you want to start making your own sentences, because translating can be a little bit limiting if you really want to sound like a native. So again, it depends on your level. Do exercises. And this of course means do exercises with grammar and making sentences. That's like the main thing here. So you can do it on your phone, a tablet, or even computer if you have some app in there, or in a textbook. It is very old school having like a textbook to do exercises, but it's actually okay. It's not like the only thing you want to be doing, definitely not. But it is good. It's good because then you have sort of an idea. You get like a, how to call it, like a shape or a blueprint or a pattern that you can copy. Right? So they are good textbooks. Even though they're kind of boring, they can be quite boring sometimes. They do have something to offer. So I would always recommend at least doing some of that in tandem with other methods. Right? So maybe you have your textbook, you have your Duolingo or whatever, you have my videos, you have some children's books, something we'll get to later. So like you mix it up. You always mix it up. You don't want to be doing just one thing. The mobile apps, like I just said, there's Duolingo. There are others. Memrise, I think, is one. But anything really, anything that helps you, whether it's memorizing vocabulary or sentence structure. And true, a lot of the sentences in these apps can be rather strange. Like you'll never need to say them in real life, at least some of them. But it's okay, because it's just for sentence structure. And it's just for sentence structure, and then you can later on put in your own words. You just gotta get the gist of how the language works, how our grammar works. That's really it. So I always say do some exercises, and maybe it's not the most fun thing, but it's good. A little bit of it is definitely good. Oh, this one. Use flashcards. So this is a little bit similar, but more limited. You can have some flashcards in an app, or like print it out, paper or whatever. And they're okay. You can definitely remember some words faster and more clearly if you have it like that, because then it's more concrete. Right? Or what was that thing you played when you were a kid, not a game? Like you would flip the card so you can find the matching one, something like that. That's also something you can do. So flashcards, they're okay. Maybe you love it, who knows? Like to each their own. So it's something you can do, at least some of the time. A lot of it is words, like a lot of apps and physical cards are words. But I think you can also find something with sentences, relatively simple sentences, but still, you can find that. So yeah, it depends like what you prefer really. But flashcards, they can be good. There's an app called Anki or Anki, it's a Japanese word, and it has like all that, and you can even download it. Like other people have made collections or decks, as they call them, where you can just like use it. So you can save some time that way. Try it out. You might like it. Oh yeah, read children's books. So this one is Well, it's a very common advice for any language, but there's a reason why it is. It is because it tends to work. Like children's books is fun. It can be boring, but it's mostly fun because you get a story and you have illustrations, and it's fairly simple vocabulary. And the sentence structure is also fairly simple. Again, there are not so many paragraphs. There are not so many interjections and like commas and side points being made. It's like one sentence punctuation, one sentence punctuation. It's fairly simple that way, and you can still see like the prepositions and how they work. Oh, that's how you use på. That's how you use I og til og for og af og videre. You know, all these prepositions. You see them in regular use. The vocabulary is pretty basic, especially if it's for smaller children. But the grammar is good, and even the basic vocabulary, you still need it. And if you're really smart, like if you really want to help yourself, then you'll get something that is translated from another language, because then you already know the story. I don't know what that could be. There's like a million different children's books. Find something where you already know the story, so you can guess it from the context. You know what they're trying to say. You know what the plot is, if there is a plot in a children's story. You just see it in Danish. So that can definitely be helpful. Now, as I wrote here, I said books for small children and books for older children or teenagers. Because of course there's a difference if it's something made for a 3-year-old kid or someone who's 14 or 15. There's a huge difference. So you pick the thing that suits your level. If you're very basic, you want to start with something for very small kids. It's kind of easy to guess that. It's maybe not so fun, but it's, it can help you. It definitely can help you. And then when you get to a higher level, you can have fun. You can read something a little more complex, maybe something aimed for young adults or teenagers, and it has a little more nuance and complexity, which is generally more interesting, because that's the thing, right? Like teachers, they always tell you, read some children's books, but then you try and you're like, shit, this is so boring because it's made for kids. So yeah, sort of grind it out, and then when you get to a higher level, you can have fun with the more advanced stuff, as with anything else. I mean, that's usually how it is with language learning. Listen to songs in Danish. Yeah, so, there are so many songs. You can pick new songs and old songs. First, I say popular music because it's on the radio, or on Spotify, or anywhere you want to go. So you just go and find it. And I would always recommend you to read the lyrics, either before, during, or after. You can maybe even print out the lyrics. You print out the lyrics because then you can look at it later. The beauty of songs is that they're not very long, compared to a movie, for example. So you can do it without having much time on your hands, and you don't have to commit so much. So that's kind of cool. And you can just print it out, and then you can highlight words, and like new words in red and known words in green, or maybe you want to divide it into word classes, and you put glitter around verbs, and you put something else under a noun. Whatever you want to do, like you can do that. You can learn a lot of vocabulary that way. Of course, music is literal. It's artistic, lyrical rather, is what I should say. So you cannot always copy what you hear. There are some strange things in songs that we don't say in real life, but you can say that about any language. Right? So yeah. But yeah, popular music, that's definitely good. I would say, if you're into this, I would recommend rap music. And it's not just because I love rap music, but it's because in rap music you have more lyrics. Like, there's just more, and you might have 20 lines in a verse, where in a normal pop or rock song you only have like 4 or 8. So there's a lot more meat, if you will, in a rap song, rap track. But the real beauty whether it's rap or singing, jazz, pop, or whatever, as long as there's some vocal, cannot be instrumental, it's not going to help you, is that you see what rhymes. You look at the lyrics and you're like, oh, this rhymes with that. They don't have the same spelling, but god damn, that's the answer, right? Like, that's how you learn something about Danish pronunciation. Because a lot of you are like thinking it's so difficult to guess the pronunciation from the spelling. You think it's random and arbitrary, but it's not. Like, there are rules, but sometimes they can be hard to get if it's just like a teacher being all boring and saying, yeah, there's this rule and then there's that rule. Like, I mean, we do our best, but sometimes what you need is a song, or songs, more than one, to see what really rhymes, because if it rhymes, then it has the same sound, and that is beautiful, right? So yeah, always check out the lyrics. Do that. Then, of course, I wrote Disney songs, and I have a soft or weak spot for this, but they are good. The good thing about Disney songs, or any children's or movie or cartoon or something like that, is that you already know them. You know them from your childhood. I assume you watch some movies growing up, or even now. And because you know them so well, you have an emotional connection, like you feel something. You feel something when they sing about the love tonight, or looking for, well, I don't want to say too much because, you know, copyright, but you know the songs, you know the theme, and that makes it a lot easier. And I've tried this myself while learning Spanish or Japanese. Like, I would check out a lot of Disney songs in those languages, and I didn't always like it. Like, it was a bit weird, you know. I would prefer the Danish or the English version, but it was still cool because there was just so much vocabulary, and you see how it's approached differently, right? And then I would say pick the songs you know best. So if it's like Disney or DreamWorks or Pixar or whatever, like any of these cartoon studios, Ghibli also, pick the ones you already know, to begin with at least, because then you have a better chance. If you pick a Disney or DreamWorks song that you never heard in your own language, then it's not going to help you. So, you know, pick something that you already know. Okay, let's take a little pause here, because there is something happening in the live chat. I'm first gonna address the questions. Herr Buchner says, can you recommend good Danish film? Yeah, sure, there are many. What's maybe Elsker dig for evigt, I Kina spiser de hunde, Blinkende lygter, Den eneste ene. Maybe I should write it. Yeah. There's a lot of good Danish movies. We actually have a very sick sense of humor sometimes, and a lot of profanity and nudity and whatnot. But yeah, there's a lot of good Danish movies. The Bridge is good. Oh yeah, The Bridge, Broen is good. Spell, not NG. What a delicate, lovely voice. Okay. Do you know any good websites to buy Danish language books from other countries? That is a good question, Ninja Squirrel. I mean, I'm going to be a little bit boring and just say something regular like Amazon or whatever. Like, you can find it anywhere. It shouldn't be too hard. When it comes to textbooks, most of them are pretty good. Like, they get the job done. They're not spectacular, but they're all about equally good. As long as you make sure they're made by Danish people. That's like, you want to make sure of that first, definitely. But yeah, that's the main thing I would say. Alright, so no more questions for now. Let's continue. Listen to Danish podcasts or radio. Yes, so this is when you're at a higher level. Like, when you have a higher level, when you've been practicing Danish for a while, probably at least a year or two, you want to listen to something. You don't always want to watch something, but you can turn on the radio or go to the podcast app, like, in your phone, because it just gets you used to hearing it. And it has that very nice sound because people are talking right into the microphone like I'm doing now. Right? So you can do that. You can listen to a lot of podcasts, and there are all kinds of topics. Of course, there's the news, and there's debates, and there's analyzing different things. religious stuff, there's stuff about technology, there's all kinds of topics. So it's really, really cool. We love discussing and debating in Denmark, so you can definitely find that in these podcasts. They're cool. I listen to it a lot, because they are made for Danish people. But you can also listen as a learner, assuming that your level is a little bit higher. If you're a complete beginner, you're not going to gain so much from it. But if you have like a slightly higher level, you can definitely get something from it. Yeah. There are some podcasts that are educational, but it's not so many. Not that I would recommend anyway. It's a fairly small, to use a business term, market learning Danish. So there are not so many products, not so many materials, unfortunately. But yeah, listen to that. And just like you can listen to music, you can also listen to radio. I mean, this is the key. You always want to be hearing something, reading something, watching something. Because if you see the Danish language as something you do in isolation, like I said before, once or twice a week you sit down like, okay, Danish o'clock, now it's time to study, now is the time to focus. If you do it so isolated, then what about rest of the time? Eh? You want to have Danish in your mind, in your ears so often that you don't forget it. And then some people say, oh, that's messy, that's unfocused. Well, maybe it's a little bit unfocused, but it allows you to relax more. Right? It's a more organic way. That's also how we learn Danish, and we learn our own language when growing up because everybody speaks it. So you want to hear it all the time. You don't want to like say, okay, I want to learn Danish, so now I'm gonna watch Thomas' video or whatever. And like you wanna use all kinds of materials at all times. Don't limit yourself. Let's see. So this one is talk to yourself in Danish. Now, I'm not encouraging anyone here to become like a schizophrenic or anything. But yeah, you can, if you're alone, or even if you're not alone, if you just don't give a fuck. If you're alone and you're just kind of chilling, why not? Like, you can chat a little bit. Like, det er en dejlig dag I dag. It's a nice day today. You can hum it, you can sing it if that helps. Like, oh, hvad er det for noget? What's that? So you basically just repeat things that you already heard. You don't have to like think so deeply or focus so hard to, make up new sentences necessarily. You can just repeat what you heard someone else say, because that's what it is. I remember with Japanese, I would like do this. I would walk around and there's this theme song from One Piece where I would like put in my own words. And you can do that too. Right? Like you have a sentence structure from Danish, something you heard in a song, something a politician said, something a friend said, and then you take the same sentence and maybe you just replace one or two words. That's also a good way to practice. Like I said, Danish needs to stay in your head. Right? That's very important. It's a very good thing to do. So talk to yourself. Right? You can also do a role play. Again, this requires some imagination. And some of you will be like, hell no, I don't want to do that. That's fine, it's okay. But it's an option. Right? You can do that. You can you can talk to yourself a little bit. Like this, I don't know, create some scenario where you say, hvad laver du? Jeg laver ikke noget. Okay, interessant. Like it's silly, it's stupid, but it helps you to use Danish in a way that's organic and fun. Because I don't want you to associate Danish, the language Danish, with something like studying, learning, it's education. I mean, yeah, I am teaching you and you are learning, but I want you to see it as something fun. Right? So when you do a role play with yourself, it can be like that. It can be a little bit silly. Right? Like, jeg drikker vand, og jeg mærkelig. I'm drinking water and I'm weird. Right? So you can just say whatever, because as long as you're practicing, it's all good. Also, you get to practice your pronunciation. There's a little warning here. You want to get feedback once in a while. If you want to practice your pronunciation, you want to have someone say, hey, that sounds a bit off, like a native speaker. But we'll get to that in a second. It definitely is a cool thing, talking to yourself in Danish or singing to yourself. Eh? It's a nice little activity you can do, also to kill time once in a while. Practice small talk with natives or native speakers. So, I mean, this is kind of obvious. Whenever you have the chance, I suggest that you at least try speaking with native Danish speakers. Is this easy? No. Why not? Because Danish people, most of us anyway, will be like, oh no, just speak English. It's okay. You don't have to use Danish with me. It's fine. And that's so annoying, right? That is what we call bjørnetjeneste, like a bare favor. It's a disservice. It's like they're helping you, but they're not really helping you. It's sort of it's only short-term kindness or niceness because you need to learn. But Danish people, they generally lack patience. I say generally, but you can still find some, eh? Or maybe some situations people will be patient enough. So when you have that chance, when you are lucky enough to talk to a patient Dane, then yeah, okay, try it, strike a little conversation. Maybe just say some basic stuff. You don't have to talk about your feelings or the political situation or the weather this year compared to last year. Like, it doesn't have to be so nuanced. It could just be something like, det er lidt koldt, it's a little cold. Eller, hvad er det? What's that? Like, just little things like that. In the supermarket or with new friends or co-workers. Maybe you're worried you're gonna look like an idiot or you're gonna sound silly, but that's okay, because no matter what, you're gonna say something silly. Like, I don't know if that sounds harsh, but it's kind of true. Like when you're learning a language, you're gonna say something from time to time that sounds really weird. And that's okay, we know that, we get it. The only reason why Danish people want you to speak English is because they or we, well, I'm a teacher, so I'm different, I suppose, but most Danish people, they're not used to hearing so-called broken Danish. So they don't have the patience. Like when I was in Spain, everybody had the patience to practice Spanish with me because they don't speak English. But in Denmark, it's a different situation. So yeah, that's kind of how it is. Practice small talk. And of course, if you can talk to some kids, that's easier. Kids, they're always more patient. Admittedly, their attention span is not very long and they might look away suddenly or whatever. That's how it is. But they don't care. If you say something weird, they don't care. They don't judge you and they forget about it like 5 minutes later. So, that's cool. Some people, they are working as a au pair or nanny or whatever it might be. So if you're working with kids, that can definitely help. Or if you have kids. like some of you're married to a Dane and you have a kid together. That's definitely the case for some of my students. So yeah, it's something you want to do when you have the chance. I know it's not easy, but try. And if you really can't, then I suggest you do some language exchange or find a private teacher, because that can also help. Simply for the sake of practice, practice conversation. All right, I think that was the last one here, the last advice. Let me go through the live chat once more. Bale says hi. Herr Bygner says hi, great English, thank you. Ninja goes hi alle sammen. Shivkotsnov, I can't pronounce your name, I'm sorry. Says I love you, okay. Delicate, lovely voice. Danish Queen is awesome. Yeah, she's kind of cool. Thanks, Thomas. All Danes are so kind like Thomas. I don't know. I generally think that Danish people are nice. Very direct. We generally say things as they are. But I think we have a fair amount of empathy for other people. It's sort of an interesting mix of individualism and collectivism. And like the individual has freedom to do stuff, but we do care about society as a whole. That's what I would say, at least. To eternity butterflies. My husband is Danish and we speak English in our home, but I still need to learn Danish, and everyone changes to English when they hear me speak. Yep, I've heard that before. It's very, very common. It's unfortunately very common. So I think all you can do really is sort of baby step it. Like when you have someone, one-on-one, like when you're talking privately, it's easier, because then you can steer or control the conversation, at least a little bit. So I would say that's the best bet, but it still takes time. It's not the easiest task. I would say of all these pieces of advice, the hardest one is this last one, to practice small talk with natives. Because if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, then they don't want to practice with you because they want to chill. Like, you want to have fun, you want to enjoy. So like they don't want to have a potential fight. You know what I mean? Like because your Danish is awkward, or they're not good at explaining stuff, and then you get mad at the process. You're not mad at them. You're just frustrated because you sound like a toddler. Right? So at least that's how a lot of people feel. But yeah, anyway, it is a little bit hard. So you should just try whenever you see the little chance. It may be on the bus. It may be there's even a drunk person talking to you because they don't give a fuck. Like they'll just say whatever. Maybe an older lady will tell you a story like, well, yeah, bussen er lidt langsom I dag. The bus is a bit slow. And no, I don't mean that as a disrespect to old people, but you know, they tend to have less of a filter. So you know, whenever you get the chance, like you see little windows of opportunity, just take it. Eh? Whenever you see it, just go for it. That's what I would say. Okay. I think I went through the live chat already. Yes, I did. That's cool. So thank you guys. Thank you for watching. This was a little bit different today because normally I just give you a bunch of vocabulary and I repeat and blah blah blah, all that usual stuff. But I thought, like, you know, recently I want to give you something that's a little more like about Denmark and your mindset living in Denmark, or mindset for learning Danish, right? Because it's not just the content of the language, it's also like how you look at the language and why you want to learn the language. Like there's a whole, you know, it's psychology, you know. There's a lot of tips you can use. I'll probably make another video in the future about some of these advice more in depth, because this was a little bit all around. But I think in the future I'll cover them more in depth, and that could also be really, really interesting. I saw. Hej Thomas, jeg er igen online efter mig flytter til okay, mit nye hjem, please. The grammar's got to be right. But thank you, Andreas. Thank you. Very nice. All right, cool. All right, so before I before I get going, I wanna show you around a little bit on the website. It's a little bit slow to load, but should be okay. All right. What we got here? So, you know, I talk about the website in every video. I make a little referral or whatever. And if you're new, then you can take a look here. So basically what you got is, I call it the Danish video collection. It sounds, yeah, whatever it sounds. And this is where you can get all the videos. Like, some of the videos are on YouTube, but not all of them. So if you want to get all, you definitely got to go to the website. And I always thought that it should have every level, because someone's basic, or someone is intermediate, someone is advanced, but there are many levels in between. So I always make sure that there are levels for videos for all level, rather. Right? Yeah. Ska vi lige se her, ikke? And a lot of different topics. So you have something like phrases, but you also have something about nature. There's some funny scenarios. There's like a lot of different things. Like, sort of diversity is the key word here. So you get a little bit of everything. Sometimes I speak fast, sometimes I speak slow, sometimes I even sing. I don't say it sounds pretty, but it's funny at least. So there's a lot of different stuff in there. I should also say, I highlight this, that the video is just a one-time purchase, okay? Like it's not a subscription. Some of you seem to think that it is, but it's not. You just pay once and then that's it. You have the videos forever. The videos that are already made and all future videos. Right now it's 390 something. So we're getting closer to 400 videos. That's kind of crazy to think about. I can't believe I'm making videos for that long. And then on top of the videos, you also get some you also get some bonuses here. And you get some grammar exercises, some PDFs, some podcast episodes. There's an ebook. So that's like in the gold package, right? There's some stuff here. And then in the biggest package, if you will, in the diamond package, you get everything that's also in gold, but you get even more PDFs, and there's some grammar tips, and there's some comic strips, and also this one of your ideas turned into a Danish video. So, for example, let's say you have an idea and you really want me to make it, but I have a lot of ideas too. So if you sort of want to speed it up and you really want me to make this, then this is something that becomes available to you if you're a diamond member. It's kind of how it is. But like I said before, please have more than one idea ready. And if you say like, I want to see you make a video about a sinking ship, And I want you to use a green screen, Thomas. I'm like, yo, I don't have that. So it has to be something that's doable, like something that's possible for me. But yeah, have some ideas ready, and I'll make it work. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be so fun to get that inspiration. So you see the 3 packages here, right? It's price difference also, and sort of, yeah, what's included. Yeah. So it's really like what you want, right? Which one is better for you? It depends, I guess, how serious you are, or what you think you can afford. I guess the last thing I want to show you is, because I didn't go here before, is the diamond bonuses specifically. Right? I guess here you can see it. You have like some mini lessons. So these are a little bit different from regular videos, because these are actually lessons that I did, and then I recorded them, just like I always do my private lessons on a daily basis. So it works in a different way. So there's 5 of those. Got some notes, and then you also have some more PDFs here, and you got some short stories, and they're being updated. It's not just these. I think like I'm frequently adding something new here, so it sort of goes on. Got some grammar tips. Yeah, you got some other PDFs. Something about the solar system. There's something about cats. There's a lot of stuff. And as you saw before, the Ultimate Danish Phrase Book. There's an ebook with like almost 2,000 phrases, so that's a whole lot. And the most recent one, which I'm very proud of because it's my style, you have these little comic strips. So you can see it's basically me talking to myself, and it's kind of silly. And then you have like a new box here, and the conversation sort of continues. And then there's a version where there's translation, right? So yeah, I try to have my fun with that. It's very fun. If you're into that kind of ridiculous humor, little conversation in Danish with translation. So yeah, all right. I think I showed you what I need to show you today. That's really cool. Oh, I saw something happened here in the live chat. Bygner, very nice. Andreas Bødker, du er ret. Okay, but it's du har ret. Right? That's the proper term. Du har ret. Happy only man I could wish. Oh wow, yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. Hope he hears now. Yeah. All right, I get it. Well, guys, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun, and yeah, I hope you learned something. I'll be back next week. All right? Peace.